Hello, my name is Joseph.
Hi, my name is Beget Zaman.
My name is Malwal Garang.
My name is Edmond Thoma.
I'm Dawit Arshak.
My name is Kababa.
My name is Maha.
Hi, my name is Abanyor.
I'm originally from Iraq,
Burma, Myanmar.
I originally from Southern Sudan.
I am from north of Iraq, Kurdish.
I'm originally from Sierra Leone.
I am from Southern Sudan.
I'm originally from Iraq, from the city of Baghdad.
I'm from Ethiopia. I lived in New Zealand for the last 15 years.
I've been living in New Zealand for the last 17 years.
For 19 years.
For 7 years.
For 16 years.
7 years.
10 years ago.
6 years and 5 months.
Welcome to New Zealand, your new home. Moving to another country is a big step. We want to help you and your family settle well in New Zealand. This video has practical information to help you know what to expect when you first arrive. It will take time to get used to the way things are done here. You may find the move difficult, so be patient, as it will take time to settle well.
New Zealand is a friendly country with a long history of welcoming refugees. The government will help you settle into your new home.
New Zealand is a small country in the South Pacific. Our closest neighbours are Australia and the Pacific Island states. There are two main islands in New Zealand, the North Island and the South Island. New Zealanders are commonly called Kiwis and are known for their relaxed lifestyle and attitude towards life. New Zealand's first people, the Maori, have lived here for over 1,000 years. European settlement began around 1840.
The Treaty of Waitangi is a New Zealand founding document. In the treaty, the British and Maori agreed to build and manage the country together.
Just over 4 million people live in New Zealand. Approximately 3 million people live in the North Island. The largest city is Auckland. New Zealand is a diverse country, and today people from over 145 countries call New Zealand home. There are 3 official languages in New Zealand: English, Maori, and Sign Language. English is the main language. Being able to read, speak, and write English makes living and working in New Zealand much easier. We will talk more about learning English later on. New Zealand is an island nation surrounded by sea, so the climate doesn't get very hot or very cold. The climate varies from subtropical in the far north to a cooler climate in the far south. As New Zealand is in the southern hemisphere, the seasons are completely opposite to countries north of the equator.
New Zealand is a democratic country. Elections are held every 3 years to elect government, which is led by the Prime Minister. The government is based in Wellington, which is the capital of New Zealand.
New Zealand citizens and residents aged 18 years over are encouraged to vote.
New Zealand is an open and friendly society.
However, there are certain laws that are strictly enforced for all New Zealanders' safety and their health.
It's important to newcomers to learn and respect the law of New Zealand.
It is against the law for anyone to steal or damage your property. It is against the law for anyone to deliberately harm you or anyone in your family.
Yes, I'm calling to report that my car's been stolen.
If you want to report a crime to the police or call an ambulance or fire engine, please dial 111. New Zealand has a long history of promoting women's equality. It was the first country to give women the vote and has had female prime ministers. All people are treated equally and have the same access to education, healthcare and employment. Women hold important positions in all parts of society, including the government, judiciary and economy.
Everyone in New Zealand has a freedom of speech, religion and political opinion. In New Zealand, it's illegal to discriminate on the basis of age, race, gender, disability, religion or sexual orientation.
People are expected to respect each other and to protect each other's rights. Children need to be supervised at all times until they are 14 years old. It is against the law to smack or hit your child. Parents need to discipline their children without using violence. There are agencies who can provide you with parenting help and support. New Zealand encourages healthy and supportive relationships. It is a crime to commit any sort of violence against your family. Family violence is more than just physical abuse. It includes sexual or verbal abuse. Rape in marriage is also illegal. New Zealand police do not tolerate any form of family violence.
You can report any domestic violence to the police or to the child, youth and family even after it happens. Call 111 if you or your family are in danger.
The legal age for marriage in New Zealand is 16. If you are between 16 and 19, you will still need your parents' consent. The law allows for same-sex marriages. For all marriages, both partners to the marriage must agree. Forced marriages, child marriages, and marriage to more than one person are illegal in New Zealand. The New Zealand police are respected members of the community. It is their job to enforce the law and investigate crimes. You can approach the police at any time to talk or ask for help.
I can say New Zealand is one of the safest countries in the world. One of the greatest things in New Zealand, there's no corruption here. You can't bribe a police officer, a government official or a judge.
111 is the emergency telephone number across New Zealand for police, fire and ambulance. You will be asked to provide your exact address.
Citizens Advice Bureau, or CAB, is an independent community organisation which provides free confidential information, advice, support and advocacy to newcomers in many languages. CAB can help with the following. To contact CAB Language Link, speaking little or no English can be difficult, and there will be times when you need to use an interpreter. Some occasions when you may require an interpreter are if you are with a government or settlement agency and you need an interpreter, please ask the agency to contact Language Line. You will need to say the name of your language in English. Then you may have to wait while the official gets the interpreter on the phone. Your business will be kept confidential and the call is free. To access an interpreter, visit or telephone the participating agency. For a list of agencies, visit the Language Line website. The Restoring Family Link Service of New Zealand Red Cross helps families trace or give messages to those who have been separated because of war, natural disaster, or forced migration.
So that's where Red Cross can help, and what we'll do is we'll fill in a form.
The New Zealand Red Cross has 40 stores around the country, selling a wide range of well-priced, quality second-hand goods, such as clothing, homewares and furniture.
There are many ethnic groups existed in New Zealand if you want to communicate with them, and there is a lot of ways to meet through Citizens Advice Bureaus, through the library, school or internet.
You could also contact the Office of Ethnic Affairs. Community law centres provide free legal help for people. They are staffed by qualified lawyers, non-legal staff and volunteers. They aim to help you solve your legal problems before they become serious.
If you are seeking asylum and have a visa, then you may lodge an application for a further visa at any Immigration New Zealand office. You need to provide You won't have to pay a fee, but you must lodge a new application before your current visa expires. School-age children can be given student visas for school. Visas usually last for around 6 months. If you are an approved refugee, then you may be granted a visa for a longer period.
A permanent residence visa allows you to live and work in New Zealand. It also allows you to sponsor your immediate family members so that they can be reunited with you here in New Zealand.
Immediate family means spouse and dependent children who were declared during your refugee and protection claim to Immigration New Zealand. If you are an approved refugee, you and your family can apply for permanent residence. You and your immediate family may not automatically be granted a permanent resident visa. You will need to complete your application forms correctly. If your family members apply for residence separately at a later date, they would have to pay an application fee. Documents that may be required for permanent residence applications. If you are unable to obtain any of these documents, you must provide a statutory declaration.
A statutory declaration form must be completed by the applicant, dated and signed by him or her in front of the authorized person by law.
Hi, I've got this declaration that needs to be signed. Could you please check and sign it for me?
These people could be lawyer, justice of a peace, court official, notary public.
This form is true and correct? Yes.
You must explain why the statutory declaration is needed and if there are any charges or convictions against you in any country. The declaration must include information confirming your character. It is not always possible to bring all of your family members to New Zealand. Only certain family members will be eligible to come. If you are a New Zealand resident or citizen, then your parents may be able to apply for permanent residence. The first step is for Immigration New Zealand to look at the income of the New Zealand sponsoring child and/or partner and the parents' own settlement funds. If you have family that you would like to come to New Zealand, but they do not fit any other immigration category, they may be eligible to apply under the Refugee Family Support category. To sponsor family, you must have permanent residence in New Zealand as a refugee. There are 300 residence places available each year. The policy has a 2-tier system. Priority is given to Tier 1 sponsors who have no immediate family in New Zealand or who are the sole carer of a dependent relative in New Zealand. If you are a successful sponsor under the Refugee Family Support category, your family will be invited to apply for residence in New Zealand. Successful sponsors must ensure that adequate accommodation is available for their family on arrival and for the next 2 years. The New Zealand Government accepts an annual quota of 750 refugees for residence. The United Nations High Commission for Refugees, or UNHCR, refers all cases to be included in the refugee quota program except for immediate family cases. Some UNHCR cases have strong family links to New Zealand, but these cases must meet UNHCR resettlement guidelines before they can be referred to New Zealand. Immigration New Zealand does not ask UNHCR to refer refugees to New Zealand. If any of your relatives are refugees and you would like to support their referral to Immigration New Zealand, you can contact their nearest UNHCR office. You can also contact the UNHCR office on the email address provided.
After you've been in New Zealand 5 years, you can apply for the citizenship and then passport.
If you have no ID documents, you may wish to apply for a certificate of identity from the Department of Internal Affairs. A certificate of identity may be issued to a person who cannot obtain a passport from their home country. It is valid for 1 year. If you want to travel outside of New Zealand before you have New Zealand citizenship, you can apply for a refugee travel document. A New Zealand refugee travel document is valid for 2 years.
Working in New Zealand is important so you can be independent and support your family. Work helps you meet new people and settle in the community. Work and Income and other agencies can help you in preparing for and finding work. This includes CV writing, identifying suitable jobs, and preparing for interviews. You will be expected to take work that you are capable of doing. You can then develop your skills to find a job that suits you. While looking for work, you may be able to get financial help from Work and Income. They can provide advice on the level of support you could get.
It's important to have a positive attitude, remain open for all work opportunities.
An IRD number is a unique number issued to you by Inland Revenue. If you or your family are earning income, you must have an IRD number and pay tax. Once you start working, you will need to pay income tax. Tax is taken out of your wages before you get paid. Work and Income helps people find jobs and can provide some financial assistance. You need to make an appointment with your local Work and Income office to ask about the different types of services available to you. If you have been approved refugee status, then contact Work and Income to discuss your situation. While you are receiving a benefit, you may have obligations to get ready for work or be available for work, depending on your family situation. Obligations are things that you are responsible for doing. Documents needed for Work and Income include you may have some one-off costs when you first get a job, and Work and Income may be able to help with financial assistance. Please ask about this help. You need to keep in contact with Work and Income while you look for a job. You will need to tell them if there is a change in you or your family's situation, for example, if you move house or you find a job. The Community Services Card can help you and your family with the costs of healthcare. You will pay less on some health services and prescriptions. If you are already getting financial help from work and income, you should receive a community services card automatically, or you can apply by calling 0800 999 999. New Zealand has a legal minimum wage. The minimum wage rates are reviewed every year by the government. To find out more about what you should be paid, or if you think you are being paid less than the minimum wage, call the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment on 0800 20 90 20. If you were approved refugee status within a year of your arrival in New Zealand, you may be able to receive a special needs grant. This can help with the cost of essential items needed to set up a home. Talk to a work and income case manager about this. Let them know if you will need an interpreter and what language you speak.
In New Zealand, you have to manage your own money, which can be hard, and you have to pay your own rent bill, food, grocery, clothing, bus fare, power bill, and telephone bill.
There are a number of agencies which provide free budgeting advice. For example, the New Zealand Federation of Family Budgeting Services. Try to live on the money you get rather than using loan options, as this can get you into debt.
In New Zealand, smoking is not allowed in the public places like bars, restaurants, buses, trains.
Most of these areas are marked with a non-smoking sign. There are outside areas set aside for smokers in public places and at work. Generally, these areas are marked with a smokers area sign. The legal age for drinking alcohol is 18 years. You may be asked for proof of age when buying alcohol. Moderate use of alcohol is accepted in New Zealand. Excessive use is not acceptable and can lead to social problems or get you into trouble.
You need a valid driver license to drive in New Zealand. If you have a current overseas driver license, you can drive for 1 year in New Zealand.
If the driver's license is not in English, you must have it translated into English by an approved agency before you drive. You can be fined if you do not have the correct license. If you wish to learn to drive in New Zealand, you must have a New Zealand driver's license before you can do so. It is illegal to drive without a current and valid license. There are severe penalties for doing so. You have to be at least 16 years old to apply for a car driver license, and you must hold a learner license before you start learning to drive. There are 3 stages to getting a car license. For information on how to obtain a New Zealand driver's license, contact the New Zealand Transport Agency. You may find the driving conditions very different from at home. Always drive on the left-hand side of the road. On most highway roads, the speed limit is 100 km per hour unless a sign says otherwise. In towns, the speed limit is usually 50 km per hour. You can be fined or have your driver license taken off you for exceeding the speed limit. You must wear a helmet when you are riding a motorcycle or bicycle. You will be fined by the police if you do not wear a helmet. Do not drink and drive. If you are going to drink alcohol, then find another way to get home rather than driving. Drink driving can result in injuries to yourself and others from traffic crashes. Driving while over the legal limit is a criminal offence, and you will be charged by police and will have to go to court. All drivers and passengers in New Zealand must wear seatbelts both in the front and back of the car. You can be fined if you or your children are not wearing safety belts. Children under the age of 5 must be in an approved safety seat according to their age, size and weight. Cars in New Zealand need to pass safety standards. If your car is safe, you will be issued a Warrant of Fitness, or WOF. All cars driven must be registered. Registration is where the government identifies you as the person who owns the car.
I'll just go to a check on your driver's license.
You must pay to register your car. If your car does not have a warrant of fitness or registration, you may be fined by the police. If you are going to own a car, it is a good idea to have car insurance.
Places to live in New Zealand can be very different from what you are used to. There are many accommodation types, such as houses and apartments. Accommodation can be very expensive and difficult to find. You will have to look around to find the right kind of accommodation. You need to be flexible about where you live.
Renting houses can be expensive, but usually cheaper than buying a house.
You might be able to get help from work and income with rent payments. Talk to your case manager about this. Rental properties are advertised online, in newspapers and through real estate agencies. You might find it hard to rent a property at first because you don't have a history of renting in New Zealand. References from friends or relatives in New Zealand may be of help. You will need to pay a rent bond of about 3 to 4 weeks' rent. This is to make sure you take care of the property and cause no damage.
If you are a single person, why don't you rent a room in house or hostel?
The government provides houses for those in greatest need for the time of their need. This is the fairest way, but sometimes people have to wait a while to get a house that's right for them. You can apply for housing assistance if you are getting financial support from the government. If you aren't, a Housing New Zealand customer advisor can still help by talking to you about other housing options. It is important to find out about your rights and responsibilities as a tenant. You will have to sign a document called a lease. This is an agreement between you and the person you are renting from. Do not sign the lease until you understand it. Do not sign a lease without looking at the property. Make a note of any damage and make sure you are happy with the property first. It is within a landlord's rights to inspect the property. This happens to everyone. They are checking the house is clean and has no damage.
Well done. Pay your rental on time for good rental history.
If you have caused a problem in your previous property, it will be more difficult to find another property to rent. Houses in New Zealand have smoke alarms, which go off when there is smoke in the house. It could save your life if there is a fire. Every home in New Zealand must have smoke alarms fitted. Ask your landlord to get alarms if there are none in your house. Check the smoke alarm batteries to make sure they work and change them if they don't work. Most healthcare in New Zealand is provided by your family doctor, often called GP. Ask a friend or sponsor to help you find a doctor. Your doctor will ask you for medical history and some personal details. Your family can choose to have the same or a different doctor. Doctors are free for children aged 6 years and under.
If you need an interpreter, then ask when booking your doctor's appointment. It may be free in Auckland, although it might not be free in the rest of the country.
It is free to register with a doctor. This will lower costs as the government helps to pay part of your fee. A fee will be charged each time you go to see the doctor after you register. A community services card from Work and Income reduces the cost of doctor visits. Your medical record is kept with your doctor. If you need your file, then you must request it in writing from your doctor. If you need specialist treatment, your doctor may refer you to a hospital or a specialist. Specialist care is free through the public health system, but you need to wait. If you want specialist advice quickly, you may wish to use a private hospital or specialist. You will have to pay a fee for this unless you have private health insurance. If you have a medical emergency, such as a heart attack or a broken leg, then you will need to visit a hospital emergency room. It is free to visit a hospital emergency room. You or your family may be referred to an emergency department by your doctor, ambulance, or you can go there directly. If you are unsure how serious your illness or injury is, you can call your GP, local emergency department, or Healthline 0800 611 116 for advice. You may have received information during your refugee claim about a free health screening. If you have not yet completed this, then contact the Refugee Health Screening Service on 09 276 6719. The doctor or nurse will assess your health status by reviewing your history, performing a physical examination and tests. This can help identify any health problems. The doctor will treat any conditions they are able to, or refer you to other medical specialist services. The Health Screening Centre will let your GP know that you have had a medical screening and of any follow-up that you may need. It is normal for people who have had experiences of war, conflict and displacement to be stressed or feel unhappy. You may be unable to sleep or concentrate on daily tasks.
Children can be affected by bad experience, for example, war, trauma, or family matters, and they can show that by being very angry or very quiet.
There are services which can help adults and their families deal with problems. These services provide professional staff who are counsellors. The information you provide is private. You can be referred to a mental health service provider through your doctor. If you wish to speak to someone on the phone about your mental well-being, you could contact any of the following numbers.
English is important for life in New Zealand. Learning English can help you find a job and with daily life. English language partners teaches refugees and migrants language skills, or can suggest another agency that may be better suited to your needs. Before starting school, most 3 to 5-year-olds go to a preschool or kindy. Kindy helps children develop physically, emotionally and socially before school. New Zealand also has a number of parent or community-run playgroups for under 5-year-olds. This will provide you with an opportunity to mix within your new community as well as have fun with your children. Schooling is compulsory in New Zealand for all children from their 6th to 16th birthday, although most children start on their 5th birthday. State schools do not charge fees, but you may be asked for a donation to help the school. If you are unable to pay it, then you should let the head of the school know why.
You may need to pay for school fees, school uniform and school trips, but if you have any problem with that, talk to Work and Income for support.
State primary and intermediate schools have mixed classes of boys and girls. Some state secondary schools offer education for boys and girls separately. Most schools in New Zealand can support your children's English language learning.
It takes time for your children to adopt a school and make new friends. So, talk to your children and their teachers about the school.
Tertiary study is available at universities, institutes of technology, polytechnics, colleges of education, wānanga, tertiary organisations focused on Māori culture, and private training institutions. There are part-time and full-time courses. Many have start dates throughout the year, so you can find something that suits your needs. Costs vary depending on the place of study and the type and level of course. Tertiary institutions may test your English language skills and other entry requirements.
You can get your qualifications assessed here in New Zealand to see whether they are recognised or not recognised, or maybe you would need to do further studies.
The student loan can help to finance your study. It's made up of 3 parts: compulsory fees, course-related costs, and living costs. You have to pay a student loan back. A student allowance is a weekly payment to help you with your living expenses while you study full-time. You don't have to pay this back. Refugees or family members of those with refugee status and who have permanent residence can apply for a student loan or allowance. New Zealand offers you a chance to build a new life in a new land. It is possible to achieve this goal. Many refugees from many countries have successfully done this. It is not always easy to live in a new country, but there will be support for you to achieve your goal. We hope this information is helpful for you, and we look forward to welcoming you into New Zealand.